Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Beyond Ecom, where we help you find and fund your purpose by starting a reselling at an Amazon store and, of course, your own clothing brand. So we are switching it up and we are co-hosting this thing.
So what's going on, y'all? It's Demino Savage, aka Mino on the mic, aka Mr. Don't Play With Him.
Yeah, so what I was wanting to talk about today was lessons that you've learned so far in your business. So, if I were to think about starting a clothing brand from the front, we've already talked about your passion, things of that sort.
Right.
But what are some things that kind of scared you out of starting? I feel like anybody could have started sooner, but what are some of the things that kind of scared you from starting?
From starting my actual business?
Yeah.
I mean, failure, of course. I think failure is one of the major things that stop people from actually starting a business and wanting to actually get into it. Because it's like, you're promoting something now to all your families and friends, and it's like, if it doesn't work out, now they're all gonna be like, I told you so.
That was a little difficult for me.
Why you say
because the interesting thing is I never really feared failure because I felt in my family I was around failure all the time. If I failed, I would have just been like everybody else. It wouldn't have made that much of a difference. I was more afraid to succeed.
Are you first generation entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Oh, you are?
First generation entrepreneur, college graduate. Like I did the first everything in my family, really. So thinking about succeeding, I knew what failure looked like. I didn't know what success looked like. And that was the scarier thing for me. And it's a lot of guilt that came with that.
As far as like you being the first one to succeed?
Yeah, you're the youngest, right?
Yeah.
So I'm one of the oldest in my family.
Okay.
So everything that I did, it was like, well,
Because you pretty much the trendsetter and followed by the leader, setting the examples.
Yeah.
What would you say your support system looks like as far as like entrepreneurship?
I would say my support system is created. It was intentionally created by me and my husband and his family and my family. I wouldn't necessarily say it's composed of my family. I think that's the biggest discrepancy when you're thinking of what success looks like. You're like, dang, how do I have my family on the back? Like, how am I figure this out? But one of the biggest things that I learned was you have to learn how to create your own community.
Gotcha.
So the people that really support me in entrepreneurship is people that I went to school with, mom's group that I grew close to, and just people that I'm like, I see you get it, and it's not going to take too much out of me to develop their relationship with you.
I think that was the biggest thing for me because I don't feel like personally my support system was always there. Family kind of, first generation entrepreneur, family kind of put the fear of failure on me because they're like, no, you need to have a job. You need to take the traditional route because essentially that's all they knew. So support wasn't always there. It was like, oh, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to invest this money? Because entrepreneurship can get scary once people actually start finding out how much you're investing on the front end.
I didn't want to get into that.
And
I was just talking to Ty about that, and then Ty is super traditional. He comes from a military family.
Gotcha.
So like you do work, you get a certain amount back, it's stable.
Yeah.
All that, but in my mind, I was like, I can't even front to you like the 9 to 5. I ain't even gonna stress it because like when you say 9 to 5, you're just thinking about time, and it's not necessarily always about time. It's just like people don't really be knowing what to do, what they got going on. It's just too many people that don't know.
Yeah.
So you've never worked a 9 to 5 or full-time job or anything like that?
Me?
Yeah.
I've done every single job that you could possibly think of in your life. From warehouse jobs to fast food jobs to corporate jobs. I've actually worked in HR before. I've done everything. So when we're talking about entrepreneurship and just taking the right route, I tried all of it before. And one thing that I kept finding was, okay, I did this, unhappy. Did this, unhappy. Did that, unhappy.
Unfulfilled.
unfulfilled. And
That'd be the biggest thing. I don't even be upset about being unhappy, but
I felt something inside of me like, you're supposed to be doing more than this. Like, I just knew it. And I could feel the fire inside of me every single day that when I actually left my job, I quit so randomly, my boss was surprised. Like, I sent it in an email, my 2-week notice. And as soon as I sent it, I got a call to my phone. And it was my boss. And she said, what are you doing? Like, she was asking me, like, what am I doing? Because I was in a position where I was working under the director. So there was
you were in like a high position.
So it was a lot of room for growth. But I knew at the time, I'm what, 23? I'm like, this is not where I see my life for the rest of my life. So at that point, you got to make a decision, right? I'm still young. So it's like, you can either take your youth and actually work on something that you really want to do, because everything in life you're going to manifest.
Right.
So you can take this time and actually work towards something that you really want to do. So now when we're talking about a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, I'm not looking back with regret.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I didn't want to do in life. So that's why I just quit my job.
Yeah, it's really difficult. And we talk about environment a lot.
Yeah.
But it's really difficult to see beyond what you've always seen. And just to know that my parents were solid, it really did something to me mentally, because I started to think something was wrong with me. Mm-hmm. Like, I understood that teaching was of high regard and, something that we needed. But for me, physically, I'm like, I don't know how I was doing it. I just don't understand.
Doing what?
I just don't understand how our parents were just working.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, you have to think, right? So we get the benefit of the doubt. We're in the information age where now you can actually, if you want to learn how to do something, all you have to do is search it up on Google, search it up on YouTube, and you can actually watch a step-by-step on how to be able to get it done. Anything. They didn't have that luxury. Would you say different?
No, I agree. But what I'm saying, what that made me think of is so many people that are still in that mindset at this moment, okay with the check that comes based on a certain amount of work. So I don't think it's just about information anymore.
I mean, well, so let's really talk about it, right? So there's the good side of entrepreneurship where people talk about you get the time freedom, you get to work for yourself. But then there's also the flip side of it where it's not always pretty.
Right.
You can actually lose money. Now you're working for yourself, but you still have to have that daily discipline to where you have to show up on time. You have to make sure that you're delivering the products. You have to provide that customer service. So what are you going to do now when you have a frustrated customer and they're coming at you crazy? You can't go back to you back in your hood days. You have to.
Some people do.
Say, some people do.
Hey, some people do.
And those are the people who
don't last long.
Yeah, essentially. So I mean, I think that's the side of entrepreneurship that people don't talk about. So I mean, I know you asked me, but what would you say are some lessons that you learned coming up in entrepreneurship, and some things that you maybe look back on like, maybe I really grown from this. I made a lot of progress in my days.
Ooh, that's a good question. So at the beginning of us starting our store, we actually went into a partnership and we lost like 10 grand.
Which store was this?
This is the same store we have.
The Amazon?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Amazon store. So we were like generating between $3,000 to $5,000 a month in revenue.
Okay.
And the return probably 15-20%. And we really wanted to up that, but we didn't know how. Gotcha. So we went and we were listening to Clubhouse at the time. I think I told you a little bit of the story, but we went to Clubhouse and we heard a guy that was talking about it, and he was saying that he has been doing it for a while and he has a profit share.
Is this before or after the partnership?
No, this is the partnership.
Okay, but when initially, for the people that don't know that's watching, right?
Right.
So when you talked about the partnership went bad. So when you got on the Clubhouse, was this before or after the partnership?
This is getting to know the guy.
Okay, gotcha.
That we ended up getting into a partnership with. And it was a white guy. I don't be wanting to say that, but it's really relevant in this conversation because we invested $20,000 into a partnership with this guy off of pure word of mouth. And we're developing our course now and having conversations and helping people do the same thing that we started out doing. But we deal with so much imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And when I deal with moments that I feel mentally weak, let me think like a mediocre white man. Because first of all, he had no course. He had no customer service. Anything that went wrong, we spoke to him, which there was a lot of red flags. Red flags. But it's really hard at the beginning of your business to listen to your intuition.
Right. Because essentially, I mean, you don't know. So, I mean, my question is, because this is something that a lot of people have actually went through. I went through this as well, right? So, I mean, as you were going through that vetting process, was it just what he was saying on Clubhouse that he sounded like he was real proficient in his field, or what drew you to him essentially?
Yeah, many years doing it. So with us thinking, we started out with $500.
Yeah.
And then we got into partnership with him in April, and we're doing $5,000. Now I think about that now, and I'm like, bro, y'all was doing the thing, y'all would have been just fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know why in that moment I wanted something that was. So when he said you invest $20,000 and you could be getting $6,000 in profit every month, I'm like, you talking about my pockets doubling, tripling?
So with Amazon, the more money that you put in, the more money that you'll get back?
Literally.
Okay, because I don't know how it works, so I'm learning something new as you're talking about that.
Literally.
So my question is, because I know you said that partnership didn't end up going good, right? Were you doing Amazon before you met him?
Yeah.
On Clubhouse?
We were doing it since September that previous year, and then the partnership with him started in April.
Okay.
So,
And then okay, you guys were doing it, and you said at that time you were making about 500, and then you got with the partner, and it jumped up to about.
No, we started out generating $500 in revenue. And then by the time we got to April, we were doing $5,000
Gotcha.
in revenue. But he was telling us that he could quadruple our revenue and therefore the return. So with that, we were like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? You've been doing this, you know exactly what to do. Because we felt we were missing something.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to overcomplicate the process. The process doesn't need to be more complicated. That's the issue with developing your store, your brand, or something. People are looking for like additional things to throw in there.
Yeah, we're always looking to improve in some type of way.
But it's not always improving though. That's one of the things that I had to learn when we want to add different people or different assets, and they're like, oh yeah, we could do this and we could do that. You know, everything is going to have an equal reaction.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to improve for the good. What it really did was fast-pace our spirit of discernment to know that what to not look for.
Yeah.
So if that's an improvement, then yes, absolutely.
Oh wow.
But yeah, no, it was a big lesson learned, but took it to the chin. You know, we would rather lose that much than what we are, you know, paced to receive and learn the lesson later on. We're not trying to learn that lesson later on at all.
No, for sure. And I think what you said was real important, because I was watching the Steve Harvey interview with the EYL.
Oh my gosh, that's one of the
amazing.
best interviews. I still think about that today, but like, go ahead.
It's amazing. And I mean, I think the further you go in life, the bigger testimonies that you're able to attest to. So some of the things that he said in that was, he was like, you have to practice gracefulness. You have to be appreciative of where you're at right now, because if you look back at your life, essentially, you prayed for where you're at today. So he said, a lot of people want that $1 million. That's just their goal. But you reached $10,000, and now you go from $10,000, and now you're making $20,000. But you're not grateful that you went from 10,000 to 20,000, because you're still just so focused on that million that you almost mess yourself up.
Yeah.
Because
You miss the goodness in between.
Exactly. And so we just have to be appreciative of where we're at in the process. Entrepreneurship is it's a marathon, and it's ongoing every single day. But sometimes we're so focused on the bigger picture that we stress ourselves out, and we get so caught up in, oh, I want more money. And as soon as you get to a certain point of, which might be successful.
But you ask for more money, and you might receive the more money, but with that more money, it doesn't necessarily mean profit.
Yeah.
That's also part of the issue, because if people are just showing you what they're generating, you could be generating $1 million, and a lot of these companies, you can see there's only a small majority of these companies that have actual net worth, and the rest of the companies have debt. They owe on that. So if they are like, one pandemic away from closing, we've realized that. Yeah. So
that's why you're seeing a lot of companies close down. So you're also hearing a lot of entrepreneurs now say that 100K isn't really six figures.
Oh my gosh.
And the reason why I'm assuming why they're saying that is because you might have generated 100K, but you really only made like 30K. You know what I mean? So
oh God,
you probably still
so
making
true.
the same amount of money that you was making when you was in that 9 to 5.
Yup.
So I mean, I think that's real important. What you said is that sometimes that bottom line ain't what you think it is. So we got to stop being so envious on other people's lives and some of these. I don't want to say fake accomplishments, but some of these accomplishments that people are posting, like, oh, I just made 6 figures. Okay, that's cool, but how much did you really make?
Yeah, the responsibility that comes along with having ownership for something. Everybody ain't built for it. So I appreciate having this conversation. But one of the other things that I thought about in regards to the Steve Harvey interview, which was just gems overall, it was really just like a theme I took out of it. And when he got hit with that tax, it was like that tax lien, and he was paying, what did he say, like $600,000 a month.
Can you imagine?
First of all, I don't even want you to put it in the numbers. Like, you know how you do percentages, right? If it was a percent of what he was making that he had to give out, you could do the same for my income.
Yeah.
I don't even want to know what that would be for my number, because it would just stress me out.
That ain't sound nothing too pretty. Ain't sound
but in regards to him, like, I immediately thought about guys who pay child support.
Yeah.
And how we have to consistently have this conversation about, it doesn't matter what your baby mama do. It does not matter. Right. Like, you got to go out and hustle. And when that tax lien came, and the first thing that he did was think of ways he could hustle, I was like, that's built.
It is.
That's
I'm
built.
glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that.
That's built. People ain't made like that no more.
They not. So my thing is, right, especially as an entrepreneur, but I just like listening to interviews and success stories. Even whether you're an entrepreneur, athlete, 9-to-5 worker, or whatever. I love listening to interviews because I'm looking for that success story. But as I'm listening for that success story, I'm reading in between the lines. Yeah. I want to know a time when your back was against the wall and you were stuck. This was the big break for you. What did you do in that moment? Because eventually, we're all going to get hit with that. It doesn't matter who you are.
We all have been hit several times. It ain't gonna be no one.
You're gonna reach.
You just get stronger. It's like doing push-ups.
You're gonna reach a point where your back is against the wall and you're almost out of complete options. But those moments right there is what makes or breaks you as an individual. Because due to the fact that Steve Harvey was able to make it out of that, do you think that if he did make it out of it, I don't know if he's still ongoing paying it or what.
Oh, no, he made it out.
Oh, he did. Okay. So now he has no worry in life potentially about how to make money moving forward because his back was against the wall and now he knows that, almost anything that I want to do, I can accomplish.
And not only that, you build up your confidence over time.
Oh, yeah.
Because he had to have endured, he was homeless for a while, so that was something big. But that is honestly what drives me day to day, because you could honestly say entrepreneurship month to month, different things happen and it could deter your whole process or what have you. But for me, I was, I'm one of 6. one of the oldest. We grew up in the projects. You know, my family, the way it was, I said, I'm not scared of the bottom. Like, I've been there. I was raised there. Like, I don't have any problem with that. So just knowing that, I'm like, look, it happens. I'm going to give it my all because this all I got.
And sometimes I think one of the biggest lessons that you can learn as far as just entrepreneurship in general is that failure embraces character. You said Steve Harvey, he was homeless at one point. So his back was against the wall, even though it probably wasn't at the same magnitude, but he dealt with that before. It's like, all right, I have nothing. So he knows what nothing feels like. When you know what nothing feels like, you know it's that feeling of, I have nothing to lose.
Right, I don't have nothing to lose.
It's literally only up from here.
That stresses out my husband. If you have a partner that is used to being stable, and you have a spouse or a partner, and they're used to being stable, and for you, you're like, I'm going balls to the wall. Yeah. Because I have nothing but my balls. It works. Yeah. And sometimes it doesn't work. But you gotta have some balls to the wall in entrepreneurship, or I feel it's gonna take too long if you don't have balls to the wall about something.
I mean, and that goes back to that quote: the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. So whenever you're entering into a partnership, me personally, I probably wouldn't. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't do that again, but I have to know that if I was to ever go into a partnership again, I need to go in with somebody who's not afraid to take risks. Because taking the safe route.
Your partner was too safe?
So I have the clothing brand crew. So essentially we started out with a group of us.
Man, you ain't told us that in the last story. Come on, huh?
We only had so much time. So it's a long story going to it, but essentially, I break it down real quick. It started out with me and my brothers. We were a music group at first. The music group ended up turning into us doing parties. The parties ended up turning into clothes, so it was just an all-around enterprise. But the thing is, when you have the more hands you have in the pot, the harder it is to be able to make a decision. So certain things that one person would want to do, everybody else wouldn't be all the way okay with it because it's all the money equally
and
invested.
It's even, right? It was 4 of y'all.
Yeah, it was 4 of us. So, but even if it was 4 of us, it'll always be, okay, 2 people agreed, 2 people didn't.
Y'all needed another, it had to be odd.
Oh man, it was always just, I felt like we spent more time arguing than we actually spent making the decision. Yeah. But there's not too many people that actually go into business with 4 different people all at one time. And the reason because of that is because it's hard for people to be on the same mindset.
Right, unless every person has expertise. And
that's the difference. We were all starting up, so
y'all on the same level.
Exactly. So even when you get to like going up higher, right, and people that actually been in the business forever, there's still a hierarchy. It's like, okay, maybe this is the decision maker. I didn't understand structure at that point, but what that did, because I told you there's lessons in every failure. It helped me learn hierarchy. So whenever you're actually going into a business, everybody needs to be assigned a certain role. Yep. Everybody needs to be
at the onset.
At the beginning, because the way how you start is going to tell the entire story.
Right.
So you need to have all right. So now you're assigning positions. You got to have the manager. You got to have. I guess somebody control the finances, somebody be able to control the marketing.
Well, in the E-Myth, he breaks it down as one side being operations, and then the other side being marketing. So
I need to read that book.
He breaks it down to just 2 simple sides. One side does sales, marketing. The other side is operations, systems that come together and have that business.
See, when you're able to set it up like that, your business can flow a lot smoother. So that's why when you actually, so we talked about, 4 people go in and somebody needs to be of expertise. They're not gonna bring 4 people together that all do sales.
Right.
They're not gonna bring 4 people together that all do marketing. You have to have 4 different entities or 4 different.
People don't want all that though.
4 people don't want all what?
Hey, if you go into business, especially everyone being beginners.
Yeah.
People not gonna, they be like, man, I just wanted to sell shirts, man. You talking about all that, we doing this, like, no, man, I just want to sell shirts.
Yeah, but you gotta also think about it, right? So when